Hello, welcome to Occupy TV. My name is Janine, and I'm here with Sharon and Charlie. We're part of the local, in the Nevada County, Move to Amend Coalition. And what the Move to Amend Coalition is a group, part of a national affiliated organizations that are trying to abolish corporate personhood. Sharon, would you like to tell us a little bit about corporate personhood and why we want to abolish it?
We do want to abolish it, and we're working on a constitutional amendment, trying to promote a constitutional amendment with many local groups to abolish corporate personhood, because corporations, which are entities that are created by law, fictitious legal entities, have been claiming the rights of persons under the Constitution, and the Supreme Court has granted them constitutional rights and protections that were intended originally for human beings. So because they have so much power in our government, in our culture, in our economy, one way to limit corporate power is by amending the Constitution and saying very clearly that corporations are not persons under the law. That's our goal.
And there's an added goal that deals with the wealth, the power of the very few extremely wealthy individuals that have been given unlimited ability to donate into political campaigns. That even if corporations could be somehow reined in, still the wealthy 1% that own the corporations through their personal wealth would be able to perform the same task of controlling what legislation gets passed, what regulations are drawn up to put those legislations into action. We'll find the same individuals who are working for a corporation will leave the corporation and then go into government service and be monitoring the corporation that they were working for, and then at the end of their government service be rewarded by that corporation with a better job back at the corporation. It's a really very tangled web we're dealing with. Corporate personhood is a major part of it, but the unlimited campaign financing is also a big part of it.
So we're working on a two-part amendment, as is the National Move to Amend Coalition. And that is, one, corporations are not persons and can be regulated. And two, money is not speech and can be regulated. The language is in being developed, but those are the two bottom lines that we're working on.
Right, and that's what, Charlie, you were referring to as well. You've probably heard of the Citizens United decision, which was decided by the Supreme Court in 2010, and it has allowed unlimited amounts of money to come into our election via this quasi-unrelated entity called super PACs. As long as the super PAC isn't obviously coordinating with the candidate or the people who've drawn up a certain initiative, then they can just receive money from wealthy 1% individuals or from the vast coffers of corporations. And unions, true, but it's a fact that corporations, even before Citizens United, outspent unions by 10 to 1. So really we're talking about vast amounts of money, more than we've ever seen before. I think already in in the Republican primaries it's been $300 million, and a lot of that just coming from individuals making $10 million donations. How on earth can a citizen compete against that kind of speech?
Yeah. It's like a megaphone that's created by money that drowns out the voices of the people.
Right.
Yeah, back when there was actual campaign finance laws, even to gain enough finances to run for an office, you had to either be someone who really had a lot of supporters, or you had to be for things that were very popular. So there's a certain amount of democracy involved in gaining enough money to have TV ads and run radio and newspaper, just at that level, at the very beginning level. Now that one millionaire can bankroll your whole campaign, one Foster Freeze or the Koch brothers, who needs people?
Right.
Who needs us, the people of the United States, when you can gain that kind of financial upper hand? I wanted to add too that it's not Republican versus Democrat, because the corporations will fund both. What they really want is the ear of the winner once he's in Congress. So by donating to the Democrat and the Republican heavily, then whichever one wins, he's one of their supporters. I mean, that corporation, and has the ear of that now representative or senator.
Mm-hmm. So this is the second part of the amendment, of our proposed amendment that you laid out, Sharon, and that's the money is not speech part. The other part, corporations are not people, is perhaps even more of concern for democracy than money in elections and initiative processes. You talked about the revolving door and lobbying. That's another power that corporations have. But corporate personhood, which has been the result of a lot of judicial Supreme Court maneuvering, sleights of hand, has actually given corporations incredible rights to overturn laws that democratically elected legislators make or citizens make through the initiative process. For example, there was a town in Pennsylvania that decided it didn't want to have a cell phone tower right in the middle of their town that was planned by a company. And they actually made an ordinance that they weren't going to have that here. The company sued the county council or the town council using this corporate personhood right that apparently they have. I think they use the 14th Amendment in this case, the right to equal protection, which basically says that you can't make a law that discriminates against this corporate person. Corporations are not obviously people, but they use this fictitious ruling that they are sort of persons, and so they use that to overturn these local laws.
And that has a chilling effect on lawmakers, because city councils, boards of supervisors really hesitate to say no, whether it's to a big box store or to reopening a mine inside the city limits of a town, or any other situation that their request that a big corporation is requesting, because they're concerned that they'll be sued, and corporations have so much more money that it could bankrupt a town.
Yes.
So they're very careful, city councils and elected officials, to not discriminate against corporations, because they have the rights of human beings, which we're saying we the people should be able to decide if we want to have a big box store in our town, or if we want a mine, or if we want clear cutting, or whatever it is that we do or don't want. That needs to be a discussion by and for the people.
And it's not that corporations can't or shouldn't have certain privileges.
Yes.
That those artificial entities shouldn't be given the privilege of entering into contracts, of owning property. There's many important things, limitations on liability that, many small mom and pop operations, tree surgeons, maybe it's a guy and his son and a couple of other guys that come out and take care of trees that have fallen on a house or are in danger of falling. Well, they've got a lot of liability, so they'll incorporate so that that guy won't lose his personal residence if there's an accident. So corporations certainly there are many instances where it's in the public good for a corporation to have a privilege. But when they claim it as a constitutional right, as if they are a person in our society, and that their constitutional right trumps a city ordinance or a state law, like I think it was Virginia had a law against trash from other states coming into Virginia, and the waste management company there sued under the Commerce Clause of the Constitution that Virginia was stopping the free flow of commerce by not allowing trash into Virginia. And they won as a individual. This company had that right to use that. Anyway, the corporations have gotten way too powerful, and they're way too much in control. We all have lost by those corporations gaining, and it's time for us to take back our rights and get control of our government.
Yeah. One thing is that passing this amendment, no one thinks this is the final answer to the problem of corporate domination. This allows the people to create finance reform and finance laws to regulate corporations.
It's a foundation upon which a lot of good can be built.
That's true, and it could still go further, and we could decide on public financing of elections. A lot of people are calling for that, but there's a lot of momentum here. This idea of this amendment to abolish corporate personhood and say that money is not speech. It is corporations have Citizens United actually pretty much gutted the McCain-Feingold campaign finance reform laws. And that's, a lot of people are really up in arms about that, because that keeps us from being able to regulate campaign finance. So that's one issue, and that's what people say, money is speech. But it's more complex than that, the Citizens United ruling. But again, that was just at the end of a long line of Supreme Court decisions that gave corporations more and more power.
And this is really appropriate as an amendment because it speaks to a principle. And upon that principle, laws will be drafted and built. So it's not trying to be the finite answer and dictate everything. It's trying to set the stage upon which good legislation can be built.
Mm-hmm. And we actually have to do an amendment. It's the only way, because the Supreme Court is the final arbiter of constitutional law. The Supreme Court is the body that has ruled in hundreds of resolutions or decisions since the beginning of the 1800s, that corporations are persons. They've used, therefore, the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, the right to free speech, which allows corporations to spend their speech money in elections. They've used the Fourth Amendment, the right to not have the government search and seize your property. And they've used the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment, especially. This is the one, the Equal Protection Amendment, which was written to protect the rights of the recently freed slaves. It's an abomination that a law that was written to protect the newly freed slaves has been used, I think, over 200 times to protect the rights of corporations. And it was just by reinterpreting person, which is how the 14th Amendment was written, to mean a corporate person, that these corporate lawyers managed to wiggle their way into an obviously crazy, inappropriate interpretation of what a person meant.
They've used their freedom, their right to privacy, to keep inspectors from agencies that are supposed to be checking for occupational health of workers or the health of the environment from coming into plants and inspecting. So now they've got to give prior notice, and what good is an inspection when you have to give advance notice?
That's the Fourth Amendment, the right to not be searched and seized.
So this personhood and the claim of the constitutional rights by corporations is really at the core, at the bottom, at the base, at the foundation of many really abominations. I mean, bastardization of our agencies. When an environmental protection agency can't come in and check the outgoing effluent from some chemical plant without giving advance notice, giving them time to clean it up so it meets the minimum standard, we've lost the ability to regulate. We, the people, have lost that ability.
Yes. People wonder if it takes too long to pass an amendment, if it's even possible to pass an amendment, but they have been passed before. And
26 times.
26 times. And if it takes time, so be it. But even the national organizations that are working on this are amazed at how quickly this is picking up steam. The way that you do it is you have to have 2/3 of both houses of Congress propose it, or the states, 2/3 of the states can call for a constitutional amendment in order to propose it. Then it has to be ratified by 3/4 of the state legislators, or again 3/4 of the state constitutional convention. Is that correct? Constitutional convention of the states. Yes. Yes.
And there's
so 2/3 and 3/4.
There's a real concern over a constitutional convention.
Yes.
Because that opens up the entire Constitution to change.
Right.
The Congress passing an amendment and sending it out to the states for ratification is more directional towards this issue in particular. And the reason it's gaining such momentum is it's pretty easy to see when you take small business who have been drastically hurt by the corporate power, and you take all the individual citizens, who's left? Who is all for this corporate power? Well, the corporations are international. They're multinational. They don't have the best interest of the United States or California or Nevada County or Grass Valley. They've got the best interest of their stakeholders, their CEO. Many of them are from other countries. I mean, people invest in PG&E from Japan. This has become a total takeover of our democratic process internationally.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about what we've actually done locally with regards to achieving our goal of amending the Constitution? Charlie?
Well, maybe before I even say what I came flying in and did, unbeknown to me.
Well, I had been contacted by Public Citizen, and then I did some searching and found Move to Amend. This was way back in September last year. I pulled together a few people, started working on it, looking at it, planning an event, and then came Occupy Wall Street. And then the conversation shifted. And when we had our event, we had over 150 people turn up. So that was the first event. That was early in November. Then since that time, we've been working with different groups locally, including Grandmothers for Peace, Earth Justice Ministry, some other church groups, the Peace Center, and other groups and individuals on different. We've had several events since that time. And then all of a sudden we found out that Charlie.
Yeah, I was frosted about the corporate, the tons of money being poured into these super PACs, and I couldn't take it. So I got on the internet and said, okay, amendment to the Constitution, and I found Robert Reich's Amend 2012 organization, and it was a great opening to this. And I checked with them to see if there was any other. Stop. Hi. How we doing? 5 minutes. To see if there was any other organizations, and I didn't find the Nevada County organization. So I got a resolution from the Amend 2012 group and put it on the Nevada City Council agenda with the idea of I was just going to go around with the flyers in town, and I thought Nevada City supports small businesses. They've always been very pro small local business. Certainly they will be against this corporate takeover, and they were. And then I got a call from the Nevada County Move to Amend group saying, "Who are you? What are you doing? Where'd you come from? We've been working on this for months." And so I said, "Well, I'm who I am, and this is what I'm doing." And they invited me to their meeting, which was the night before the council meeting. And they voted to support me in it. And I joined their group. And we packed this chambers were standing room only. People lined the walls. And they hung out to the very end because there were some other contentious issues that they entertained first. And the city council passed it unanimously. So that was the first step. Now we've got one, in our county, we have one city that has passed it, and hopefully more to come.
And our group is now really looking at timing and wording. We all agreed yes to the one that Charlie had proposed because it had those two key points. Corporations are not persons and money is not speech. So now we're looking at Nevada County, Grass Valley, but we're wanting to take our time and we didn't get much publicity about the one in
the
Nevada
Union
City.
newspaper ran no article after.
But you
it
did a
was passed.
good letter to the editor. So we hope that the people will join us, or if you're far away, go to movetoamend.org, find the organization, find an affiliate group near you.
Or start one. You know, if you're up in Truckee, or if you're down in Marysville, or wherever the heck you are,
That's right.
get on the net, search around. If you can't find one, start one.
And the place to go is movetoamend.org because they have a whole packet of information and brochures and ways that you can organize your own Move to Amend group, and you can find whatever the hundreds probably of Move to Amend local groups that already exist.
And at the very least, you can sign an online petition.
Mm-hmm. You can also find us just do a Google search, Move to Amend Nevada County, and we have a Facebook page. You can go to www.occupynevadacounty.org and find our Abolish Corporate Personhood Working Group.
Mm-hmm.
Phone number?
Sure. My name is Janine, and my phone number is 530-292-1413, and I'm happy to field your calls. We really want as much support as we can. We are part of a nationwide movement. At the national level, several groups, Public Citizen, Common Cause, and Move to Amend. Any other groups that you can think of that are stalwart supporters?
Women's International League for Peace and Freedom,
Yeah.
certainly. And there are a lot of different amendments being proposed and being suggested, both at state levels and at national level. We want those two key points.
Right.
Corporations are not persons, money is not speech.
Right, because this is very critical. Some amendments only address the Citizens United issue. That's the money is not speech part, more or less. And that is not enough.
We're holding out for the best we can get.
Yeah. Because were things good before 2010? I don't think so.
But they're going to be in the future.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, if not now, when?
That's right.
Right.
This looks like it might. Yeah. Great.
Turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Turn me around, I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, gonna build a better world.
Yeah, that's what we're totally uncovering.
Ain't gonna let corporate America turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let corporate America turn me around. Keep on walking, keep on talking, gonna build a better world. Anyone's got a version for it?
Or don't you even have to do it?
Ain't gonna let Citizens United turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. We're not gonna let Citizens United turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, we're gonna build a better world. Ain't gonna let more profiteers turn me around, turn me around.
I've been clean 4 years.
56 days.
I've been in long-term recovery for 23 years.
I've been in recovery for 6 months and 11.
I've been in recovery for over 15 years.
Every September, people gather all across the country to celebrate recovery from addiction.
I am so grateful for 19 years of recovery. It's changed my life, changed my children's life.
For information or for events near you,